Hello everyone, this is Chris Syrria and that's Robert Harding, and you may recognize us from the Punt, Pass, and Chat video Pick 6 segment.
Boom.
Whew.
A special boom.
But football season is over,
That's
but
right.
we had so much fun doing those Pick 6 videos, we just decided, you know something? We can't get enough of ourselves on internet videos. So we're going to do a overall sports video, a weekly sports video, and we're calling it the Citizen Sports Video. Pretty obvious, but I think it fits and I think it works pretty good. Or TCSV for short. So what the purpose of this video is, we're just going to spend about 15 minutes on average, maybe a little more, maybe a little less, depending on what's going on. What are the hot topics of the week? Locally, regionally, nationally, and heck, internationally. Let's go around the world here, okay?
We could end up talking soccer.
We have no limits. Yeah, we'll couple talk soccer. All right. So, anyways, with that in mind, like I said, we're gonna do 3 topics, and our first topic for our first show, it has to be Syracuse men's basketball and that amazing game against Pitt last night. Tyler Ennis the Menace, launching that 35-footer. Right, nothing but net with 1 second left to beat Pitt and to keep Syracuse alive, the number 1 ranked Syracuse Orange men's basketball team alive, undefeated 24-0. And this team, they just find ways to win. And it's amazing to watch. You're just like, last night, I'm like, this is it. They're going to lose. This is the loss. This is where they're going to lose that first game. And what happens? Ennis makes a play. I mean, really, it's his signature play of his career in Syracuse. I mean, I don't know what else he can do, barring hitting a buzzer beater to get to the Final Four or win a Final Four game or national championship, that he's going to be remembered for. This is his Pearl Washington moment when Pearl hit that half-court shot against Boston College back in '83. Jason Cipolla hit a two-pointer to tie against Georgia in the regionals and the NCAA's back in '96 there. Obviously, Jerry McNamara is the guy that everybody's comparing this to. 2006 against Cincinnati. 2004 against UConn. I mean, this kid is unbelievable. And I'm not going to get Dick Vitale or anything and say he's awesome with a capital A or
he's a diaper dandy.
Diaper dandy, but this kid, I mean, he's got ice in his veins. I mean, he made the 2 free throws, to put Syracuse up before. And before we forget, I really think C.J. Fair deserves a lot of credit because he almost single-handedly got Syracuse back in the game. They were down by 6. He hits a three-pointer from the corner, gets it down to a 3-point game. Then he made a very tough jumper to get it within 1 and set things up. So I think everybody's talking about Ennis, but let's not forget about C.J. Fair.
Yeah, it was really those two, a senior and a freshman, teaming up to
balance.
Balanced it out, and they teamed up to lead Syracuse to victory. And it was a great game. I thought it was a great win. Mainly because of the venue. You're playing an away game in a hostile environment. The Pitt fans, much to their credit, they were very much into the game. They really wanted this game. They really wanted the upset, beating the number 1 team in the country at home. But that buzzer beater, I tell you, there's you can go back and look in Syracuse history and find a lot of big shots and. Given the moment, that's right up there.
Yeah, I mean, they keep an undefeated season alive.
Yeah, and so, when you put in all those factors, just a great moment, and certainly a great moment for this team. Throughout the game, one of the things that, I thought was a little annoying, at least from the ESPN broadcast perspective, was that, Doris Burke kept referring to, this isn't the best Syracuse team ever. Well, no. It's and it's tough to judge these things
when
you're only 2/3 of the way through the season. I mean, there's the whole tournament to go after this. But, in terms of this team, what they bring, good defensive team and timely offense. They're not the greatest offensive team in the country, but they can certainly deliver when need be. And Ennis and C.J. Fair showed that last night.
Yeah. And defensively, that 2-3 zone, it's solid. I mean, there's games where they get torched a little bit, but I mean, that team has just they just find ways to win. They have great chemistry. And I don't think you could ever understate the importance of chemistry on any sports team, whether it's basketball, football, whatever. I mean, all these guys have their role. They know what they have to do, and they do it. I mean, Trevor Cooney, you know what his role is. He's going to hit the 3 for you, play a little solid defense. Christmas, obviously, he's going to get you some points inside, but he's a heck of a rebounder. And it's just a great story. And I was going to say, C.J. Ferris is really Mr. Everything. He will do everything to grab you
Good at both ends.
a big rebound, to put up a big shot. And it's just great. I mean, it's a great story. I mean, if you live in the Syracuse area, you are loving this, okay? I mean, this really just is, as much as we've had a bad winter with all the snow and the cold temperatures, following this team has been just awesome. I mean, it's just been great, and it's been a lot of fun. And you just want to see it end where it should end, and that's at the Final Four. And hopefully cutting down the nets at the Final Four and a well-deserved second national championship for Jim Boeheim.
Yeah, I tell you, I went to the game a couple weeks ago when Syracuse played Duke, and to be there for that game, and I think I told you this when after the game, I said, there's certain games that you go to and you say, was it worth it to buy that ticket? You wonder. But with this game, I'm glad that my sister down in she lives down in Yonkers. She wanted to see this game, big Duke fan. So we went to the game, and glad we were there for that. Just a great game between two of the best that the ACC has to offer, and really another great moment in this season for Syracuse, and hopefully there's many more.
Yeah, I mean they have NC State coming to the Carrier Dome on Saturday. I think that game may be a little tougher than some people think. And then eventually they have to go back to Duke a week later.
Yeah.
And that's going to be the big game.
Yeah, it's a tough stretch coming up. They've got
and Virginia's coming up. And Virginia is 10-1 in the ACC.
Yeah,
they've been very quiet. It's funny that Duke Duke's record is not as good as Virginia's, and Duke is ranked higher than Virginia in the top 25. It's a little bit funny there, but so. Well, you want to move on to the next topic?
Let's go. Let's do it.
Derek Jeter. He's hanging him up. I remember when this kid was a rookie. I remember he made his debut back in '95.
This kid.
He was only 21, 22 years old.
When Jeter made his debut?
9 years old. I mean, I was a little bit older than that. Not by much, though, but just a little bit older. No, a lot older than that. But this guy, I've always said about him, after he'd been in the majors for about 4 or 5 years, I said, this is the new DiMaggio. This guy is the This is this generation's Joe DiMaggio. The way he carries himself, the way that he plays, and he's proven it true. I really think that even the way he's hanging him up, the way he announced his retirement on Facebook and everything, what he said, I've been trying to find what exactly Joe DiMaggio said when he retired back in 1951. But I think Jeter said that when you find it hard that it's more of a job now than it is a game. It's time to walk away, and I'm pretty sure DiMaggio said something very similar to that. Like when baseball becomes like a job, it's time. That's it. I played my last game, and they're so similar. I mean, the way their demeanor, the way they are with the press, the way they are with their private lives, and it's just there's so many similarities between these two guys. And, for the Yankees, this is the end of an era. And I was thinking about this. The Yankees have had a true superstar now for probably since the mid 70s. You figure that Reggie Jackson came aboard in 77. He was the superstar of the Yankees. He left in 82, 81. In 82, Mattingly came aboard, Don Mattingly. And Mattingly was the man from 82 to 95. And then in 1996, Jeter, his first full season, the Yankees win the title, and Jeter picks up that mantle. No pun intended, Mickey Mantle.
Very nice.
So really the Yankees have had a guy that you would consider the face of the franchise since the mid to late 70s. And I don't know who's going to replace him. We know it's not going to be A-Rod, obviously. He's done. And even if he wasn't done, you can't even begin to think that A-Rod is a true Yankee. I hate to say that, but that's the case. But the Yankees, there's nobody out there really that you could say this guy is the face of the franchise now. And you wonder how this year's going to play out. He is going to be 40 years old. Can he stay healthy? We hope so. Can he still be effective at this age? And then the effect, because if you're playing for the Yankees and this is Derek Jeter's last year, there's going to be pressure on you to play your best and get that team to the postseason, because Derek Jeter deserves to have his career end in a postseason game, preferably the World Series. That's where you'd want it to be. And unfortunately, we learned last year with Mariano Rivera, those dreams don't always come true, but that's where you want it to end. And as someone who grew up a Yankee fan and still kind of pull for the Yankees, I'm not as fervent a fan as I used to be, but that '96 season was just so special. And to watch Jeter, bloom as a rookie that year and lead the Yankees to the World Series that year, and like I said, pick up that mantle or that torch and become the next great Yankee was just amazing. And he's going to be missed. I mean, the team is not going to be the same after he retires.
Yeah, this is a guy. If you look at Jeter's career and you try and label him, try to compare him to other great players and say where does he rank, whether it's by position or his era or just all time. I don't think you're ranking Jeter in the right way. I think what he brought to the table is something that very few people have and very few Hall of Famers have had, and that's the ability to be a great leader,
yes,
an effective leader. There's a reason why he did end up being the captain of the Yankees, and it's because of that leadership. Is he the greatest shortstop of all time?
That's
No.
Cal Ripken.
Is he the best Yankee of all time?
No, that's Babe Ruth.
Yeah. So, you look at all of these things and you say, okay, well, what differentiates Jeter from all of these other things? And it's leadership.
Yeah.
The Yankees and Major League Baseball as a whole, and that's why even the commissioner chimed in, when Jeter announced his retirement yesterday. But, this guy is one of the greatest leaders, this era of baseball has seen, the best leader, in my opinion, and the championships show for that. The rings that he has, winning the World Series with the Yankees, back in '96, like you mentioned. Of course, then you get into kind of the dynasty years,
right?
When
'98 through 2000.
'98 through 2000. Of course, they did make a trip to the World Series in '01 and '03, but lost.
Right, and then again in '09.
And then they came back and won in '09. So, this guy, his contributions to the game, his contributions to the Yankees, just as a leader. Is a first ballot Hall of Famer. We were talking yesterday about, will he be unanimous? I doubt it, just because of how
There's
things play out.
Say,
There's always, those few voters out there that, play games with their ballots, which I'm sure we'll talk about at some point on this show. But, I think come 2020 and, in Cooperstown, there's going to be a lot of Yankee fans there to cheer one last time for Jeter as he makes his entrance to the Hall of Fame.
I really feel that when they do count the votes for the Hall of Fame in 2020, that he will surpass Tom Seaver as the highest percentage of votes for the Hall of Fame. I think Seaver's around 98.2, or he's a 98 point something. And I think Jeter, I don't know how you cannot vote for Derek Jeter for the Hall of Fame. Really, the only knock on his career is lack of power. But that's not a crime. I mean, this guy hit for average. He was clutch. He was an excellent defensive player at shortstop, and he won. I mean, I know Pete Rose is the winningest baseball player of all time. He played in more winning games than any other player. I don't know how many wins he's played in, but he's got to be right up there, and he's got to be close to Rose. And I'm going to look that up when I get out of here and check this out. But this guy, all he did was win baseball games, and he won rings. He's got 5 rings, right? No. Yeah, 5. Yeah, he's got 5 rings. And not too many players can say that. And like I said, this guy, if he doesn't get at least 98% of the vote, then there's something wrong. I mean, I understand not unanimous, but still, he has to be pretty darn close. So, our last topic.
Let's wrap it up here.
Our last topic is a guy that I'd never heard of until Sunday night. Never heard of this guy, Michael Sam, a defensive tackle for the University of Missouri. Defensive end, I'm sorry. I knew he was defensive lineman. Defensive lineman.
You were close. We'll give you credit.
Thank you.
We'll give you half a point.
Okay, thank you. So, Michael Sam has come out of the closet. He has said that he's a homosexual, and he intends on playing in the NFL. And I applaud him for having the courage to do that. That is not an easy thing to do. And it's going to be interesting to see how the draft plays out. Usually, everybody watches the first round. I think we may be getting pretty big numbers in the 3rd, 4th, and 5th rounds. And if this guy doesn't get drafted, I think you're going to see even more eyeballs towards the end of the draft. It's a very, I want to say complex, but there's a lot of factors involved here. the team that would want to draft him. Does he fit their system? I mean, is he the right kind of player for their defense? Okay, and Sam supposedly is supposed to be playing linebacker in the NFL. He's undersized for a defensive end, so they want to move him to linebacker. And, does the team need him at linebacker? And then, of course, the locker room. What type of locker room culture do we have? You would think that a veteran team more than a team with a bunch of younger players would be a good place for Michael Sam. And the coaching staff. I mean, can the coaching staff deal with this? Because there will be distractions. I mean, look, this is a historic first, and I put it up there with Jackie Robinson breaking the color barrier in baseball back in 1947. I mean, this is the last real, the second from last barrier in major pro sports, and that is a homosexual athlete admitting that he's homosexual while being an active player. The last one is a woman playing a major men's professional sport, and I'd love to see that one fall too. I think that'd be awesome. But otherwise, back to Sam. I applaud him. I mean, I think but some of the reaction we're getting from players is more of just ignorance. I think they have an idea of that this person, Michael Sam, is going to be leering at them in the shower, that he's going to be hitting on them, and they're I would say afraid, but they don't want that, and it gives them, it just unsettles them, okay? But I think they need to understand that I think Michael Sam is not going to be doing anything like that. He's going to be there to work. I think I can't think of a rookie coming into an NFL training camp who's going to have to prove himself more than Michael Sam. He's got to show that he can play at an NFL level with all these distractions, or not distractions, but all the media attention, and having to prove himself to his teammates. So I don't think he's going to be doing anything funny in the locker room, okay? I think he's going to be a complete professional working hard to prove that he belongs at the next level. And I hope he makes it. I think it's a great story. I think it's going to be the story of the 2014 NFL regular season. And it's going to be amazing to watch when this happens. And it's going to be tough. There's going to be a lot of challenges for him. But I'm rooting for this guy. I want to see him do it. I want to see history be made.
I have a few things to say about Michael Sam. First of all, I applaud him for doing this, especially at the time that he did it. The Outsports.com story about how this whole announcement came to be is a great read, and I recommend it for people because it really shows what went into the decision to announce it now. And one of the factors is they didn't want it so close to the draft because they wanted to minimize the impact of this on the draft, which there's people out there that'll debate this. I think there's a good case to be made that come draft time it'll still be an issue, but it won't be like it is now, where it's still fresh. People are reacting to it every day, that kind of thing. By then, it'll be known, and
Right.
it'll have simmered down a little bit. I think it's a great moment in sports history that he's doing this now. That he's taking that step. That he had the bravery to do it, and he's coming out and saying, "Look, this is who I am," and my football resume is here. This is what my personal resume is, and I'm an NFL draft prospect. This is who I am, and I think it's phenomenal, and I really wish him the best. Now, there's a different argument here. Where is he going to be drafted, if at all? And to me, looking at his stats, looking at everything I've read about this guy, he could go as high as the third round. People look at the fact that he was the SEC Defensive Player of the Year, and you look at that and say, well, that's the best conference in football. That says something. But, you have to look at everything else with that. And, even, let's say he doesn't get drafted. It's not the end of the world. I told someone today, look at some of the players that haven't been drafted. One that comes to mind for a team that I root for, the Buffalo Bills, Fred Jackson. Fred Jackson wasn't drafted. What's he done?
Yeah.
He's only one of the best rushers the Bills have ever had.
But the question is,
So-
if he isn't drafted, that means he's he can sign with anybody he wants.
Right.
Is somebody going to want him? I mean, how can you not bring the defensive player of the Southeastern Conference, arguably the best conference in all college football? They said that this guy is tied for the best defensive player of the season. How does this guy not get drafted? I mean, at all. And if he isn't drafted for some crazy reason, how does he not at least get a chance to compete in training camp?
Yeah.
I mean, that's when I think the NFL is going to get a lot of media attention they don't want. Like I said, but I think somebody's going to draft him. I think it'll come. I think it'll come in the 5th round. That's my prediction, my hunch. 5th round.
Yeah, I would say, one thing to your point about the being the SEC Defensive Player of the Year. If you look back at the last 10 years that award has been given out, most of those players have been drafted in the 1st round. The lowest any of them have gone is the 5th round.
Mm-hmm.
So chances are he's going to get drafted.
Yeah.
But you've got to be prepared for all of the
Right.
scenarios here, and you've got to look at his resume and what he's delivered on the field. Because if you look at his career at Missouri, really his senior year was his best year and really his only good year.
Yeah.
And he has an ability as a pass rusher. Teams are always in need of a pass rusher, especially a guy of his size, on the outside. Being an outside linebacker could be a good option for him. Being a reserve defenseman could be a defensive end could be a good option for him too. Defensive end or outside linebacker because of that ability to get to the quarterback. But I too see him going, 5th or 6th round. I just think that when you put all the things together, a team could be willing to take this on and say, well, we need a guy like Michael Sam, and he showed last year he can do it in the best conference in football. So let's see what he can do in the pros. And I think there's all it takes is one team, and that's been repeated a lot over the last few days.
Heck, Manti Te'o got drafted, right?
Right.
Yeah.
And so you look at this, and you hear all these anonymous executives, running their mouths to Peter King and other big name football writers. And to me, it comes down to, yes, there's 32 teams, and all of them are more than willing or have the right to come out with their opinion, but it takes one,
Yeah.
and that's all he's going to play for, and that's all that he has to worry about. So, and it's proven in the last few days that there's representatives from teams, whether it's coaches or executives, they've come out and said, look, we would embrace this.
Yeah.
We have no problem with it.
Yep.
We'll make him fit in
So
our
let's
team
see,
just like
let's
any
see if
other
one
player.
of those teams
Yeah.
actually picks him. I mean, there's been a lot of NFL front offices, owners of NFL teams saying that we support what he's doing and we wish him well. Let's see one of those teams actually draft the guy, and let's give him a fair shot.
Yeah, and I think that's the key thing here is getting into the right environment, having the right coaching staff, having the right front office. New England comes to mind mainly because Robert Kraft, the owner, and Bill Belichick, the coach, they've made it a point to say, look, if we had a gay player on the team, it wouldn't be that big of a deal for us. He would just be like another player, and he'll fit right in, and we wouldn't treat him any worse or better.
Yeah. Well,
So
one last thing, Robert. I'm curious that will Sam's announcement cause a current NFL player who is gay, who has not publicly admitted that, to come out of the closet? Because you figured that would diffuse some of this. That the first anything is always a big deal, okay? First man on the moon, first man to break the sound barrier, first man to break the color line in baseball, a lot of firsts, okay? So if a current NFL player actually does come out of the closet and admits that he's gay, maybe before training camp starts, this changes everything. That maybe there's not as much attention on Sam, and maybe that I won't say becomes average, because I think no matter what happens, he's going to be getting attention at the beginning of the season. But it kind of takes away a lot. It just steals some of the thunder, so to speak, and makes things a little bit easier for him to get his career going. So we'll see what happens, because there are gay players in the NFL. There's no doubt there are. The population.
The math would suggest
that there's gay players in every major professional sport. And the day is coming. Okay, Jason Collins came out last year, but nobody signed him as a free agent. But the day is coming, and I think people need to realize that the gay people are people. They're just like you and I. Okay, their sexual orientation is different. Okay, and
they go to work.
They go to work just like we do. It's just one difference. That's it. But they're people just like us, and they deserve respect. And they deserve an equal opportunity, an equal chance in life, whether it's a job or whether it's playing professional sports or whatever. And it's 2014, and it's time to put the stereotypes and the ridicule, just sweep them aside, and let's show, how far our society has come, okay? And it's time for this to happen, and Michael Sam is making it happen. And again, it's a great story, and it's gonna be amazing to see what happens come this May when the draft comes, and then when the fall when the NFL season starts.
Well said, Chris.
Thank you. Well, this is it. I think we had some fun here. I think we delved in some good topics, and hopefully we will be back next week. I guess we can't be canceled, right? We don't have a television network. We can't be canceled, right?
Comcast hasn't pushed us
No,
out yet.
no. I mean, our wonderful publisher Rob Forsey. I don't think he's going to cancel us, right? No, I don't think
I
so.
doubt it.
No, I doubt it too.
He'll probably laugh at us.
And he'll probably laugh at us too. I know. If he's laughing at us, I guess that's a good sign. He enjoys it. So, but we appreciate it. We hope to see you back next week. Tell your friends. Tell your enemies. We don't care. We love to have people watch this video and enjoy it just as much as we enjoy making it. So, and we'll see you next week. Take care.